We're talking about solving multi-step inequalities. We've done some basic inequalities. 5x is greater than or equal to 15, and 1/3 x is less than or equal to 9. So we're just going to do a quick refresher. We divide both sides by 5, and we get x is greater than or equal to 3. And we plug that in to make sure it's true. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 is greater than or equal to 15. That's true. But it says I'm greater than or equal, so I'm going to pick 5. 5 times 5 is 25, and that's greater than or equal to 15. Now here, I could divide by 1/3 by both sides, but if I do that, I'm really multiplying by the reciprocal, so I'm going to take my giant parentheses and multiply by the reciprocal, and I get x is less than or equal to 27, and plug it in. And I say, okay, 27. 1/3 times 27 is 9. 9 is less than or equal to 9. That's true. Let's try another one. This is less than. I'm going to use multiples of 3. So I'm going to try 3. So I can cancel out my denominator. So if I say x is 3, 1/3 times 3 is 1 less than or equal to 9? Yes, so this is true. Well, what happens when we throw negatives in the bunch? Watch what happens. Same thing. Negative 5x is less than 15. So let's go over here and let's solve. If I divide both sides by negative 15, I'm going to get x is less than negative 3. So let's plug this in and see what happens. Let's pick negative 5, right? Negative 5. So because it says x is less than negative 3, so anything less than negative 5 should make this a true statement. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Okay, 25 is not less than 15. So what does that tell you? It means that whenever we divide by a negative, the sign flips. Why does the sign flip? Because we're transferring the negative to the other side. We're undoing the negative and transferring it over. So right here, we can't leave this like this. Whenever we divide by a negative, we know that it's going to become x is greater than negative 3. The sign flips only when we divide by a negative or multiply by the reciprocal of a negative, or we get a negative. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 2. So I can clear my fraction. When I do that, this becomes positive. I'm transferring the negative over. Because I'm transferring the negative value over, I have to flip the sign. So the sign flips right away. Very important. When you're doing your multiplication division by negative, you have to flip. Negative 8. You always double check. Now this says it's equal, so I'm going to plug it into this. Negative 1/2 times negative 8 is going to give me positive 4. And 4 is greater than or equal to 4. Yes. It says it's less than, so let's pick another multiple of 4. Let's pick 8. So let's pick x is less than 8. Let's pick negative 16, because it's less than that. Negative 16. So negative 1/2 times negative 16 would be positive 8. Positive 8 is greater than or equal to 4, right? Good. So all you have to remember is when you are dividing both sides or multiplying both sides by a negative with an inequality, the sign flips because you're transferring the negative. So let's do these two, I think. Yeah, let's do these two. So here we have to add like terms first. We simplify the inequality on each side before we go on. So 6x minus 10x is negative 4x is less than or equal to 12. This is a negative coefficient, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. When I do that, I'm transferring the negative. I'm flipping the sign, so it becomes x is greater than or equal to negative 3. I checked it. I don't have to go back up here. I could to make sure. It's supposed to be equal. So 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. And a negative 3 times negative 10 is a positive 30. Because a negative 10 and a negative 3 is positive 30. That goes with that. So negative 18 plus 30 is 12, which is equal to 12. Here, we're going to subtract 10 from both sides, just like an equation. Bring down our negative 5y is greater than 10. We're going to divide both sides by negative 5. When we do, this sign flips, and it becomes y is less than negative 2. All right? I want you to try these two problems. Stop the video and do negative 8 is less than negative 4n plus 4, and 3 times the quantity of x minus 2 is greater than 4x. Welcome back. Let's see how you did. Here, you subtracted 4 from both sides because we want to isolate the variable. We get negative 12 is less than negative 4. We divide both sides by negative 4. When we divide or multiply, we have to flip the sign. M is less than 3, but we can use the flex property and go M is less than 3 and rewrite it this way. It doesn't matter either way. Over here, 3 times the quantity of x minus 2, distribute 3x minus 6 is greater than 4x. I'm going to isolate, get the x's on one side, so I'm going to take them over to the other side, make it easier. Subtract 3x, I get x is less than negative 6. I don't flip the sign because I didn't multiply or divide by a negative. Okay, write down 2 things you've learned and 1 question, and I'll see you in class tomorrow. Let's see if I can stop this camera.